Hello there everyone, Allen D here, and this is the first time I've actually made a video where you can actually see me. I'm usually camera shy and feeling a bit nervous now, but what the hey, let's give this a go. Alright, so this video is basically going to be a history of my channel from when it started up until now, and also add a bit more depth to the videos that I've uploaded. Okay, let's get started with my very first video, which is not actually on my channel anymore due to lack of views, but it was called Bowling People Over, and it was just a short video I made playing RollerCoaster Tycoon 3, which is one of my favourite video games of all time. So I built an incomplete roller coaster, tested it and saw it fly off the track, hitting every park guest before exploding, and yet no one died. Hooray! It's interesting, you can drown a park guest and you can build a tunnel and then delete that footpath and the guest just disappears. But when a roller coaster car explodes in front of you, not a scratch. If you're not familiar with RollerCoaster Tycoon games, they are a strategy simulation game where you manage your own theme park. The first RollerCoaster Tycoon game came out in 1999. It was developed by Chris Sawyer, and it's one of my childhood games. It's one of the very first games I played as a child, and I just remember being so amazed that you could build rides and make your own roller coaster. Then RollerCoaster Tycoon 2 came out a few years later, and my dad bought it for me, and it was even better than the first game, and included real-life parks from Six Flags of America. And I remember going online and printing out the actual maps of the real-life Six Flags park and comparing them to the game version, and I was just astonished at how similar they were. RollerCoaster Tycoon 3 came out a few years later after the second one, and it was in 3D. The previous games had been isometric 2D, but now you had 3D views, you could ride the roller coasters. Just amazing. It's my personal favourite of the series, but I think a lot of fans prefer the simplicity of the first two games. Now at first the game couldn't work on my old Windows XP PC because the graphics card wasn't good enough. And I remember being very upset when we had to return the game and get a refund. Eventually though we got a new computer and I was able to play it. Then RollerCoaster Tycoon 3D came out a few years later for the 3DS, and I bought it when it came out at full price despite the mediocre reviews. And let me say, this was probably one of my video game regrets. Buying a not so good game at full price when it was going to be discounted a few months later. Now the 3D game was decent, but it just didn't feel like the older games, and it really didn't have a good interface, and the 3D effect wasn't as good as I expected. Then, just earlier this year, Atari released RollerCoaster Tycoon for mobile, and right off the bat, people were disliking this game. I mean, you look at the trailer of the game on YouTube, and the dislike bar is really massive. For me personally, it was an okay game. I think I gave it 3 stars out of 5 on the App Store, but I really think Atari could have done a lot better if they had made the game on Facebook for free, and that would have introduced a whole bunch of new fans to the series. Hopefully the game that's coming out later this year is on par with the quality of the first 3 games. If I had to rank the games, I'd say 3 is the best, followed by 2, then 1, then the mobile version, and then 3D. Anyway, moving on, the next videos I uploaded were from Taylor Swift's Fearless Tour, when she came to Sydney in 2010. And looking at them now, they were terrible videos. Taylor was so far away, you could barely see her. The camera just wasn't that good, and there was a bit of shaking. But it was the first pop concert I went to. I'd gone to see The Wiggles and Disney on Ice as a kid, but this was the first real concert that I went to. I had a great time, and I think my favourite moment was being surprised when Taylor sang Today Was a Fairy Tale, and suddenly heart-shaped confetti fell from the ceiling. Oh, just beautiful. Next we have my first countdown videos of Disney, Celine Dion, and Glee. Disney, what can I say? I love Disney movies. Still have quite a few of them on videotape, and I love watching them as a kid. With Celine Dion, I really didn't know much about her until 5 years ago. I only knew she sang the Titanic song and she was Canadian, and that's it. One day my uncle was playing her A New Day live in Las Vegas concert, and he called me in to hear a song he thought I might like. And that song was I'm Alive, and I just fell in love with it straight away. As it turned out, I actually heard that song before at the end of Short Little 2 when I watched it as a kid. Anyway, 5 years on, I'm Alive is my favourite song, and Celine Dion is my favourite singer. Now on to Glee. During the first 2 seasons of Glee, I just loved the show. It was a great mix of comedy and drama. It introduced me to a lot of new songs, and all the characters are great, although some were underdeveloped. Back then, of course, Glee was really popular, and their songs had great success on the iTunes chart. And nowadays people are like, oh, when will this show end? Does anyone even care about this show anymore? And I kind of get what they're getting at. The show just doesn't seem as good as it once was. But I still like it, and hopefully the last season, season 6, will be really good. After that, I noticed that songs from Glee were on YouTube, but they were separated into individual songs, so I had the idea of compiling them and grouping them by episode. And I think that those videos were the ones that really got me the views and the subscribers that I've never had before. And after that there was, I uploaded Celine's Colour of My Love concert, because I had it and didn't appear to be on YouTube. Next, in 2012, everyone knew about a K-pop song called Gangnam Style by Psy, which of course is now the most viewed video on YouTube. And I liked the song, but I couldn't say any of the lyrics because they're in Korean, except the op, 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 and the hey, sexy lady. So I decided to search for English lyrics, and I stumbled upon Chad Wild Clay's misheard English parody of Gangnam Style called Open Condom Star. And he broke the song down into English words so that I could now sing Gangnam Style. And I loved it so much, I made a video fusing his video with Psy's original audio, and it was so close, just it was hilarious. And Chad actually replied to my video, and that was the first time a big YouTuber replied to one of my videos, so that was really cool of him. Thanks, Chad. I kept on making Glee compilations, and then in early 2013 I was feeling a bit nostalgic. I came across this video called 90s Epic ABC Compilation by Maury Jr., and that video brought back many memories of the shows I watched as a kid. And the feelings I've got. I got from watching that. I need to watch that again. Anyway, I was inspired to make my own version with more shows, so I developed my kids shows in Australia in the 90s and early 2000s series of videos. Let me tell you, that was hard work. I had to research and find as much shows as possible, find the theme songs and openings for the shows, mix it all together, upload it, take out a few shows due to copyright reasons, and then upload it again. It was also during this time I found episodes of Sabrina, the Teenage Witch on YouTube, and I loved that show when it aired on Channel 10 in the mid-2000s. But they only went up to season 4 and didn't show when Sabrina was in college. So I finished the series, the episodes I hadn't watched, and I became more interested in sitcoms from the 90s. So I discovered Blossom, which is a show from the early 90s about a teenage girl called Blossom, played by Mayim Bialik, who most people know plays Amy on The Big Bang Theory. And I love the show, even though it was set 2 decades ago. Some of the things that Blossom went through are still relevant today. Now, on the show, there were 2 characters I really loved. Blossom's best friend Six and Blossom's older brother Joey. And I thought they would have made a great couple. And I made a video, Joey and Six scenes, to show my love for that couple. They didn't end up together, but in my mind they are currently married and they have kids somewhere. Later on I would discover shows like Brotherly Love, Boy Meets World, which is actually one of the few shows I have on DVD and one of my favourite shows of all time, and The Wonder Years, which is also a favourite of mine, and it's finally being released on DVD later this year, so I might get that if it's not too expensive. And back to the topic of nostalgia, one of the shows I watched as a kid was High Five, and it's an Australian children's show, and they had songs and activities and all sorts of good kiddie stuff. I remember my parents playing one of the albums from High Five to put me to sleep when I was little. And like with Glee, I noticed that the songs existed on YouTube, but I compiled them together by season. Now, interestingly, High Five videos in general get a lot of dislikes, and mine have been no exception. I'm guessing the reason for this is that some people grew up with the original High Five, that's Charlie, Kathleen, Kelly, Nathan and Tim, and they dislike the new High Five, and other people like the new members and dislike the old ones. Then we come to a video that's not a song compilation, it's a blooper compilation of the first 2 seasons of probably one of my favourite shows at the moment, Once Upon a Time. And I love Once. I love the characters, the reinvention of classic fairy tales, the fact that everyone is connected to one another somehow. Some people say the show has gradually gotten worse, or that it's desperate for more viewers since they're introducing characters from Frozen next season. But for me personally, I loved all 3 seasons so far, and looking forward to seeing Frozen characters when the show comes back. So that video is one of my most watched, and when the bloopers from season 3 come out, I'll definitely add it in. Next we have some videos of Dami, who was the winner of the 2013 X Factor Australia, and I love her voice. I saw her live once and she was just amazing. Now, Dami got a little bit of racist comments on social media last year when she won. And I'm sure the large majority of Australians are not racist people, but it does sadden me that there is still a small amount of racism out there. Recently, I merged two of my YouTube channels into one. Before I couldn't upload a video longer than 15 minutes, so I had to create a separate channel for those videos. Now my limit has been removed, so I've moved those videos back to the main channel. Anyway, that's it. I can't believe I've hit 300 videos, over 5 million views, and over 6,000 subscribers. Hopefully you enjoyed watching the history of my channel. Like and subscribe if you want, and I look forward to making more videos in the future.